Good morning, and welcome to Morning Joe. Yesterday was a whirlwind of major news, from significant developments in Saudi Arabia to ongoing negotiations impacting Ukraine. The latest updates indicate positive news for Ukraine, particularly in intelligence gathering and military aid. However, the financial markets remain turbulent, with stocks continuing to decline. The Wall Street Journal highlights another volatile trading session, and concerns over a US-Canada trade war persist. Trillions of dollars have been wiped from the markets, as reported by the New York Times, while ongoing US-Ukraine discussions mark a crucial diplomatic breakthrough. Now, all eyes turn to Russia to see its next move. Joining us this morning are our panelists: Jonathan Lemire, a White House and national politics contributor for The Atlantic; David Ignatius, columnist and associate editor for The Washington Post; and Elizabeth Bumiller, writer-at-large for The New York Times. Turning to trade, President Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports have now taken effect, impacting Canada, Australia, the European Union, and other key trading partners. The EU has already announced countermeasures set to begin on April 1st. Meanwhile, Australia's Prime Minister has stated that the country will not impose reciprocal tariffs on US imports, citing concerns over inflated prices for Australian consumers. In a surprising turn, late yesterday, President Trump stepped back from raising tariffs on Canadian metals to 50% after Ontario's Premier agreed to pause a surcharge on electricity exports to the US. However, the Canadian government has vowed to retaliate against the 20% tariffs imposed on its metals. Adding to the trade drama, Trump reiterated his unconventional idea that Canada should become the 51st state, arguing that it would eliminate trade barriers and reduce taxes for Canadians. "We spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. If Canada became our 51st state, we wouldn't have to worry about tariffs, borders, or trade disputes. Canadians would pay lower taxes, and it would make a lot of sense," Trump stated. He also downplayed the US-Canada border as an arbitrary division, remarking that it looks like it was drawn with a ruler. This stance has been met with skepticism. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, caught in a candid moment, told his advisers that Trump's proposal should be taken seriously, rather than dismissed as a joke. Elizabeth Bumiller noted, "Many assumed Trump's comments about acquiring Greenland or Canada were rhetorical, but the reality is, he appears increasingly serious." Ironically, this rhetoric has strengthened Canada's Liberal Party, since annexation would likely ensure a Democratic majority in the US for years to come. While some still speculate that Trump's statements are strategic moves for trade concessions, the response in Canada has been overwhelmingly negative. US relations with Canada are at a low point, and Trump's unpredictable trade policies have rattled markets and business leaders alike. For months, corporate executives and investors underestimated Trump's commitment to imposing tariffs. Many assumed his campaign rhetoric was just that, rhetoric. But now, they are seeing firsthand that his trade policies are real and impactful. "It's astonishing that business leaders are surprised by this," said Jonathan Lemire. "Trump has been advocating for tariffs since the 1980s, and he has followed through on his promises. Wall Street and corporate America miscalculated, believing he would prioritize economic growth over protectionism. As markets continue to react to these policies, concerns grow over the inconsistency and unpredictability of Trump's trade strategies. Investors and executives are now scrambling to navigate an economic landscape shaped by abrupt policy shifts. In the coming days, we will closely monitor the market reactions and international responses to these developments. Stay tuned for further analysis.